The moon is quiet in a way that doesn't feel natural. Not peaceful, not calm, just empty. We were 4 astronauts standing on gray dust that hadn't been touched in billions of years. Earth hung in the sky above us, blue and alive, so close it felt like we could reach out and scratch it with our gloves. Our mission was simple: routine maintenance on an experimental communications relay left in orbit after the last lunar test. Quick job, in and out. Plant new equipment, run diagnostics, collect samples. We laughed while we worked. That's the part that haunts me. Inside the lander, Commander Elias cracked a joke about how this was easier than traffic back in Houston. Marisol hummed old songs through the comms. Jonah kept talking about the steak dinner he wanted when we got home. The moon didn't answer. It just watched. We finished ahead of schedule. The relay blinked green, systems check complete. "Let's go home," Elias said. We climbed back into the lander, boots dragging gray powder inside with us. I strapped in and ran startup procedures. The ignition sequence failed. No warning, no explosion, no flashing red lights, just nothing. I ran it again. Dead. Jonah leaned forward. "Maybe a frozen valve?" "There's no atmosphere," I reminded him. Marisol checked auxiliary power. "Battery's good." Elias exhaled slowly. "All right, we stay calm." The silence outside pressed against the hull. Jonah volunteered to check the exterior thruster housing. It was a short walk along the ladder and around the engine casing. Routine. We'd trained for this. We watched him on the external camera. He stepped down onto the dust. Slow, careful. His boots left perfect prints. He disappeared around the curve of the ship. For a few seconds, there was only static breathing in our headsets. Then, guys? His voice was tight. "What do you see?" Elias asked. A pause. "I think there's..." The scream cut through the comms like metal tearing. We jumped. On the external camera, something moved, not clearly, just a distortion. A shape where the stars should have been. Jonah stumbled back into view. Something was on him. It wasn't large. That's what made it worse. It was thin, angular, limbs too long, bending wrong. Its surface looked like shifting stone and shadow, as if it wasn't fully there. Its head had no eyes that I could see, just a smooth curve that reflected the sun like polished bone. It clung to Jonah's suit and tore at him. His visor cracked. We heard him screaming until the sound became wet static. Elias hit the exterior floodlights. The creature turned. It didn't run like an animal. It unfolded away from him, stretching sideways, flattening against the ground like a shadow pulled thin, then snapped upright and darted across the surface in impossible, jerking strides. And then it was gone. Just gray dust and silence. We rushed outside. Jonah was still alive. His suit was shredded along the torso and neck seals. Blood bubbled inside the helmet. His breathing came in ragged gasps. "What was that?" Marisol whispered. No one answered. We dragged him inside and sealed the hatch. He died 10 minutes later. There's something horrifying about watching someone suffocate while Earth hangs outside the window like a reminder of what oxygen feels like. We tried to radio mission control. Static. We switched frequencies. Static, backup antenna, static. The relay we had just fixed flickered in the distance, and then went dark. Elias swallowed. "It's jamming us." Marisol shook her head. "There's nothing here that can..." A thud struck the hull. Soft, curious. We froze. Another thud. Not violent, just testing. Something scraped along the outside. A sound like fingernails dragged across a coffin lid. It didn't attack again right away. That would have been easier. Instead, it stalked us. Every few hours, we'd hear movement outside. Shadows sliding past the porthole, too fast to track. Once, I saw something standing on a ridge about 50 yards away. It was upright, watching. Then another shape rose beside it, and another. They weren't alone. They never rushed us. They waited. Food and water became numbers in a ledger. Days became blurs of recycled air, whispered arguments. Sleep brought dreams of thin limbs tapping against glass. On the third night, Marisol swore something tapped back when she tapped the hull. 3 knocks. Pause. 3 knocks. Pause, like it was learning rhythm. Elias decided we couldn't wait. If we sit here, we starve, he said. We make a run for the relay. Maybe we can fix the comms manually. It was suicide, but so was staying. We suited up. The moon felt different when we stepped out this time. Crowded. The horizon seemed closer. The shadows longer. We moved in a tight formation toward the relay. Halfway there, the ground shifted. Not visibly, but the dust rippled beneath our boots like something moving just underneath. Marisol screamed. An arm burst upward through the regolith and wrapped around her ankle. It wasn't an arm in the human sense, more like a jointed spike of bone and stone, bending in too many places. It yanked her down. The surface swallowed her to the waist. We grabbed her arms, pulling. More limbs erupted around us. The ground wasn't solid. It was full of them. They had been beneath us the entire time, waiting. Elias was dragged away first. His tether snapped tight, then went slack as he disappeared into a sudden sink of shifting dust. Marisol's helmet shattered. I heard her choking in vacuum. Then she was gone. I ran. I don't know why. Instinct, maybe. The lander was still visible in the distance, safe, useless. Something sprinted alongside me, just out of sight. I could feel vibrations matching my steps, playing with me. I reached the ladder and climbed. The hatch sealed. Inside, I collapsed, sobbing into recycled air. The hull dented inward. Once, twice, in silence. Through the small porthole, I saw them clearly for the first time. Dozens. Tall, thin figures standing in a circle around the lander, watching. One pressed its smooth face to the glass. There were no eyes, but I felt seen. The face split vertically. Not a mouth, just an opening. Inside was darkness that moved. The hull ruptured. Air screamed out into vacuum. The last thing I saw was Earth, bright and alive, while thin shapes folded through the breach like smoke. 2 months later, a rescue ship arrived. They found the relay inactive. They found the lander intact. No bodies, no damage. Just 4 sets of footprints leading away from the ship, and none returning. As the rescue crew stepped onto the surface to investigate, their commander noticed something odd in the dust. The footprints were fresh, not months old, fresh. Behind them, the rescue ship's ignition system flickered and failed. Out beyond the ridge, shapes began to rise from the gray surface. Patient, learning, waiting again.